ahead and get this thing quickly started. Who is Nadege August?
Who am I? I'm right here. Who is? Hello. Hi, everyone. Oh my gosh. I got to tell you, I have ADD, like self-diagnosed ADD. So that's who Nadege.
Mm-hmm.
So all the little writings and messages, I'm like, woo, Tweety Bird.
Trying to read it.
What was your question? Okay, no, I know your question. Nadege August is just a little girl who grew up. I was born in Brooklyn. Family's part Haitian, part French. I mostly claim the Haitian side, of course. I traveled a lot as a kid. My parents divorced. Mom moved us to France, to Haiti, and then finally settled in Brooklyn. And that's when I can say my life started, because I discovered what I wanted to be when I grew up at a young age. I found it out in public high school, and I never looked back since. Important to say, family did not understand what that's about. They still don't. And that's actually a good thing, because no one gets to have an opinion.
Absolutely. You're doing your thing. I've been trolling the internet, not trolling, but scrolling through the internet, just trying to see, a little bit more about you. And I was like, where did she get the name Bougie Dilemma? So of course I YouTubed it and just typed in the name, and it's a web series that's actually pretty good. So I know that you wrote that. Can you tell the rest of the people that may not know about it, just give us an insight on it?
All right. So that's how I got the name. Originally, the Instagram was created because, Insta was just kind of started, and I was hearing, that's one way to get an audience. So it's a web series that I wrote, and it's about a woman who is always sort of like, as you can tell the name, it's always a dilemma with her. She's bougie, but she's not, one of these people who wants way more out of life than they should be getting a little bit. Someone who's a little off-centered, a little weird. So what I did was I wrote and produced and shot 3 episodes as proof of content. And the plan was to go around and chop it into something bigger. Because at the time, just like with podcasts, if you didn't have a web series, you weren't doing anything, right?
Right.
So that became a whole thing. I wrote 12 episodes. I still have 9 of them sitting there somewhere in a pile. And it just never went forward, unfortunately. It was on Amazon for a while, but Amazon decided, because, Amazon built their backs on the little people like us. And now they're like, okay, all you little things, independent stuff, out the way. And that's it. So, yeah, I'm glad you find it funny. That very first episode, was it the first one? I can't remember the one, but the one with the guy who was hollering at me. It's called the
Hollaback. Yes.
Now, when I shot this, Obama was still in office, right? Our lovely president. And the use of that word I used at the end, people understood what I was doing. They understood.
Right.
That Chris Rock thing, right? There's a difference.
Right.
Well, during the Trump time, I got a lot of hate for that. All of a sudden, it's like the consciousness shifted about it. And so that actually made me even shy away. And for a while, I'm like, maybe I should just pull that episode down. And I'm like, you know what? No, this was my point of view. This is how I saw the world. And if you don't like it, I hate to say it, just don't watch.
Exactly. I'm so glad that I did see it. It was your sarcasm was everything. Like just everything, even to the episode about what was it, about the child or no kid, or about the kid?
Yeah, that guy.
I was like, oh my God. Like, your character, I know the character is titled Nadege, but your character was saying things that a single woman who has no kids, who is actually looking for someone that does not have any kids, that's too much baggage. You know what I mean? Like, she was just being real, and I love that episode. I loved it.
Girls, I don't know if you read the comments, but someone actually wrote, there's a dude he actually wrote, I hate women like her. Sometimes the comments are way more entertaining than some shows.
Well, I loved it. I loved it. You guys who are listening, please make sure you go check out those episodes. Please, just look up Bougie Dilemma, and it's right there for you to check out.
Yeah.
Please do. I'm telling you, it's worth watching. The humor. And one other question about that: the acting side with the weight loss thing, and is that like really a thing or? Okay.
So,
wow.
Of course, the comedy comes from, it's times 10.
Right.
Those conversations do happen in those waiting rooms. I mean, women will notice if this one got a little bit bigger or got a little smaller. And if you do, we want to know what you did. I mean, the pressure to be anorexic is real. At least it.
Wow.
I got to say, since the lockdown, we're not going into rooms anymore. So that is kind of like, whew, that pressure's off. It's kind of nice in a way. That's the only thing. But yeah, no, those conversations really happen where people are like, okay, I need to break up with somebody just so I can, stop eating.
Well, damn, if that's the case, I would have been super skinny if that's what it took. I have adverse reaction to it. I eat more.
It's different for everybody, right?
Right. But it's so realistic though. Like you say, those conversations really do happen, and it's hilarious though. You guys, please make sure you check it out.
You're like, hearing you say that and a few people who remind me, I feel like I want to keep going with it.
That's what I was gonna ask. Any hope of even just doing maybe 3 more, or just to, say, oh, okay, now this is what else is going on in Nadege's life. 3 more at some point. We're gonna get some free time because I know you're a busy lady.
Well, I'm gonna tell you the truth. Here's the truth, and this is transparency. I'm one of these people. I'm like, you see this. So I'm like, do I look like somebody who cares? So, you understand? Like, I care, but I'm not superficial. Right. So here's the thing, though. These things cost money.
Yeah.
And not even that. It's like finding the actors who are as committed. Because that's the other thing. The one thing I learned, not work with friends. You would think friends would be nope. They are more likely to go, oh, yeah, where are you? Yeah, I can't show up right now. It's like, there's a crew that I've paid who's waiting. Now, the actors that I hired were people that agreed to a very minimal payment, but they knew they were going to get beautiful looking footage. And and they showed up. They were professional. Why? Because they didn't know me. I was their boss.
Right. Well, that's good advice. That's very good advice for someone. Don't try to hire your friends, especially they may appear loyal, but then when the time comes down to it, no, they're not. So just if you can outsource, get those people that are willing to be there. That's very good advice. Very, very good advice.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. So now I know that you're on you have a role in Young Dylan, which is super cute. But how did you become a part of the Tyler Perry family in a home?
Well, it's so great. First of all, getting Young Dylan was so much fun because, all right, so here's what happened originally. I was invited to audition for the part of the mom, like not the mom, but the aunt, the one who married to, I'm terrible. Yes, thank you. And I went in, and then they're like, come back this afternoon. But I couldn't because I was on set someplace. I had to report to a job, and there was no way I could have made it. And I was like, oh, man. But it actually felt good to know that they're like, okay, you're going to move on to the next step. Fast forward to me finding out that this next step involved people walking into a room and Tyler Perry being there. I was like, I would have passed out. I was like, so in a way, I'm like, phew, fine. Cut to a few weeks or months, for whatever, a little time later, I get this. It's like, it's just going to be a guest star that's going to recur. And now this is when we're going to find out who Young Dylan's real mama is. And the way it was written was almost like a little unclear as to what they wanted. Like they knew she had to have a problem to explain why she can't take care of the kid, right? But you have to remember, it's a kid show. It is a comedy. But at the same time, this is the moment where people have to stop laughing and just look at, oh my God, yes, there are children who go through these situations where mothers can't, and they just drop them off somewhere. Luckily, dropped off with people who have it together, right? So it was like, they weren't clear as to what they wanted what this character should be. So I decided to bring a little bit of that hyper, like, okay, she's like on the edge of something. Like, you just know there's something not right with her, right? So it was interesting because even though the job security of being a regular week by week written in the show was not there, God works in mysterious ways, and God is good. Because I have to say, from an artistic point of view, man, was that fun. What a fun character. Well, I mean, I had fun.
Right.
I had fun playing. Like, to me, that's far more interesting and creative.
Right.
And so when that first season ended, I had no idea what was going to happen. You know, it was one of those, okay, so I got a job. All right, great. I guess it's done. But it was open enough where it was like, yeah, maybe she will pop up once in a while. She has to, right? Disappear. And sure enough, they were like, oh, we got to bring him back for the second season. You had left with him. So I got to go back. I got to try to pretend like you saw at the beginning of season 2, like we never quite made it out. So yeah, and that was still fun. So now I'm off somewhere. So the joke was, so in the meantime, the opportunity to audition for Ruthless came. And again, there was little information available about the show, but it was to my advantage that there had been a few episodes out already. So I was able to go watch the show ahead of time. And I saw that it was about a cult. Again, God working in mysterious ways. I love cults. I just love reading about them, listening to podcasts, anything. You got a 2020 thing, a Nixum, on this one, and I'm like, give it to me. And so, of course, so already the environment was familiar to me. And so that helped a lot. The fact that it was already a story idea, an environment that I naturally, as a person, not the actor, liked. I was like, oh God, this is great. This is awesome. And so, the audition came right around, lockdown. And this was when lockdown was first starting. We didn't know what was going on. And it was more like, all right, you know what? Just put him on tape. Just send your audition in. We'll see. And this is when we all thought, this is just a couple of weeks. We go, joke's on us. So I ended up getting the job off of the tape.
Wow.
Yeah, that was exciting. I mean, awesome. Some people, they had to do it again with some notes and stuff. For me, it was like straight up, it's yours. And I was just like, yay. So yeah, that was pretty spectacular. I love me some Jones. Oh my gosh. I got some hate from some people who are, they assume, see, here's the thing though. Ruthless fans are loyal because the group that started the show that they met, they're really loyal to them. So anyone from the outside, like Joan coming or River coming in, they're like, side eye.
That was me. I'm sorry. I'll prejudge.
That's all right. You're guilty.
But you guys came in and you killed it. You guys came in and you literally turned things upside down. So now we're not just looking at Daikon sideways. We're looking at Joan sideways. Like, what are her intentions? Like, what's really going on with her? She got a lot. She got a lot going on. She's about that money. I know that much.
Oh, yeah. I enjoy, I really do love like roles where, to me, it's like life. We don't know what tomorrow's going to be like.
Right.
So to me, it's exciting not knowing what's going to happen and just finding every opportunity to do something crazy. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
And that,
you're definitely killing it as Joan. But I'm gonna go backwards just a little bit because this movie, Out of Time, I love that movie. Like,
you like science fiction?
yes, I love science fiction, but I'm gonna just tell you this one part, and it was like, oh yeah, she's a real G. When she went in and she saw her boyfriend or fiance or whatever, he was cheating on her, and he was like, just let's talk about it, blah blah blah. You know, just have a lunch and learn about it. She's like, oh, we don't talk about it, all right. And she tased him. I'm like, yes,
Yeah, okay, we'll talk.
I know that takes away from a little bit, takes away from you, but not really. So people really have to go and watch that movie. I loved it. How did
Yeah.
you go into being that character?
So Out of Time, see, again, this is a nice independent movie. This is something someone wrote with their heart,
Wow.
kind of like me, right? You had a dream, you slaved away, you got it done, and then you got the money together and you got the people together, and and the commitment was there. So for anyone who watches, it's not a Hollywood blockbuster by any means, but it's an example of how you can get something done if you want it done.
Right.
And what was smart about the director, Matt Handy, is he surrounded himself with actors who were committed. Like, I read it, I said, okay, I felt like, sure, there was a little bit in the writing that could have been more developed, but it was also not written by a woman, it was written by a man. And I appreciated the opportunity that he was making a Black woman a central figure for a change.
Yes.
And
yes.
It was not mentioned other than a couple of quips here and there, because that's not what it was about. And that's the beauty of science fiction too, right?
Right. Right.
It's not about races. It's about predators that we don't know coming after us. That's it.
Right. And time travel.
Time travel, right? Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. So, yeah, that character was, it was fun to play someone who everything, because, here's what I found out with a detective, with cops, people in law enforcement, especially doing investigation, you got to have a poker face. But you also have to, because you have to remember, it's still a character, a movie you're watching, right? So you still have, the audience needs to be with you and know a little bit of what you're doing and where you're going, kind of. So it was interesting to just be calm and just always just be grounded, just be down here kind of thing. But also like allowing moments of just outbursts, little things that tell the story in a way where you're like, oh, okay. I know what's going on here. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, this is one of those that could easily get a sequel. It should get a sequel because, he comes back with that sweet Porsche to pick her up. You don't know.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
But look, she was all policey throughout the whole movie. And then at the end, they give her a glamour shot. I was like, okay.
Oh, thank God, right?
Even though you're beautiful without all of that. But let's try to sexy. Let's give to her. She earned that spot. She is literally the star. So she earned that spot. Yeah. So I thought that was awesome.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, no, it was needed. Also, she was no longer, they had ripped her off from the job. There was no need for her to just be her hair in a bun all day, every day. Let loose a little bit, but yeah, it was interesting because I was like, she's devoid of sexuality, so I had to do that a little bit, just and maybe once or twice. It was needed. Granted, the setup was perfect if you think about it, right? With her having a personal tragedy happening in her life, right? And something that just forces her to change and shift, and yeah, that was good times.
You killed it. I use this word often, but I mean it. Like, I don't watch a lot of things, but the fact that, one, it was science fiction, and then I said, okay, well, she's part of the Ruthless family. Let me just check it out. Let me see what Miss Nadege August has going on. And I mean, I really enjoyed that movie. And
Hey, listen, I appreciate you've done your research. I mean, as soon as we started, you hit me with my web series that I don't want to say I've forgotten about it, but certainly didn't think of that.
I try.
Yeah.
That's the purpose of this Ruthless Conversation. If allowed, I want to try to get us fans to know more about the individual, not just the character. Because there's definitely way more to you guys than just you being money getting Joan. Like there's way more to you than that. So that's the whole purpose of this conversation.
Oh, good.
Yeah. So
Because can I just say, I felt like I needed to go back and watch some of the episodes to make sure I remember the storylines. I'm so glad you're not going to ask me because, I mean, you could. But I did something really fun for the fans who are interested. I took all of the Joan scenes from every episode to date that, what are we up to? Episode 11, I think, and that's season 2.
9.
Season
2, episode 9.
Okay, great. So from season 1, halfway through, when Joan, my character, first shows up, all the way through, I did a whole well, I didn't do it. I had an editor do it. Put all of the Joan scenes together. And it's interesting because if you just watch all of them, you probably could see what she's up to. Hint, hint. But also,
right.
Yeah, so that's Vimeo. YouTube would not allow it, so Vimeo accepted it. So anyone who wants, just go check out Nadege August on Vimeo, and then that should pop up. It's about 40 minutes. It's a good chunk of time.
Okay. Absolutely. Of course. So you are a professional at this thing. So how did you come up with your ideas for your podcast, What the Fuckery? And first of all, where did that name come from?
Well, I didn't want to say what the F-U-C-K.
Right.
One day I was playing around while having wine, of course, and I'm like, oh, I'm British now, and I'm just going to say fuck. Okay, well, fuck you. Fuck you. No, fuck you. And I was like, what the fuck? What the fuckery? And I was like, oh my gosh, yes. And that's kind of what it started. So instead of like saying that bad word, I was like, okay. Right. And then I started to think of things that are weird to us, or at least for me, things I don't know about as fuckeries, right? And so I decided that the podcast should be called What the Fuckery. And then it's about, as you can tell, there's no rhyme or reason to any of the episodes. Each episode is its own thing. You literally can be like, oh, that's an interesting topic. Why don't I go in? Like tomorrow, I'm having a conversation with a woman who is a death doula. Now, we all know doulas give birth or help women give birth, right? This one is for death. Did you even know?
So she's there with the person passing away.
Yes. Isn't that fascinating?
That's very fascinating.
What a cool career to have. You think about have someone assist you coming into the world. Why not have someone assist you? I was mind blown. So I can't wait to have that conversation. That fuckery.
That's gonna be fair. I'm definitely gonna make sure I'm listening for that one. That's definitely gonna be interesting because, like you said, most times it's like your family or somebody that's there with you when you're passing away. But then, what about the people that don't have someone there with them when it's time for them to pass away?
Right.
So that's gonna be very interesting. I'm definitely gonna listen to that one. Listen, y'all make sure y'all check out her podcast. What the Fuckery. Y'all heard what I said.
Spelled with an O.
Oh. Even if you put the other letter there, it wouldn't even know. We wouldn't know the difference. But I have it. I love it. I'm enjoying it. I'm learning from you. I'm really, believe it or not, I am learning from you. You don't know it, but you're a teacher to me because I just, listen to how you have the conversations with, your guests and everything. And I'm like, okay, I don't want to be like you, but I can definitely learn things from someone who's actually doing it. So I appreciate you for taking out your time to give us What the Fuckery.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I get it. And it's personal preference too, right? A lot of the reviews, of course I read them because some of it is positive feedback. Like there's one person who wrote, I really like her voice. In fact, I listen to it while I'm sleeping, or it helps me go to sleep, except there's the music that comes on. Twang! Can you please change your music? Okay, now that's a big ask, okay? I'm not about to change my music for one person, but it's interesting to know that some people like to listen to me at bedtime. And
Right.
guys, do you hear it? No, I'm kidding. Some people actually like hearing my voice at bedtime. And then there are others who say, you know what? I really like that she doesn't interrupt her guest a lot. She just lets them tell their story and, and then ask, which is appropriate. So I basically, when I listen to others as well, my favorite, I think she is the master, is Terry Gross. She hosts something called Fresh Air on NPR, and she's been at it forever. Like, if you get to be on her show, you've made it, kind of.
Right.
But she asks such brilliant questions. But that is the one thing that I learned from her is this conversation is about your guest. They are the expert. Even if I have something in common with you, I don't necessarily need to interject. Because I invited you on to teach. So let me be a good listener who then asks the right questions to move the conversation forward. And that's my pulpit, and that's all I'm going to say about that.
That's okay. Stay on that pulpit. You're doing an awesome job with it. Trust me, what you're giving, everybody can learn something from. So, well, we're going to go ahead and bring this thing to an end. But throughout our conversation, I do know that you are a writer, producer. You're not just an actress. You're hilarious, super talented. Because anybody that has to work with that works with Mr. Tyler Perry has to know their lines and be in their location in a matter amount of time. And you are indeed a super talent. Your resume speaks for itself. People, all you have to do is go and Google her. We didn't even get close to half of what she has done and what she's going to do. So I just want to say thank you so much for being a part of this Ruthless Conversation. And if you have any final words for anybody that's tuning in, feel free to give it to them.
Well, I just want to thank all of you for being here. Nuki by Nature, keep watching. Rasha, you joined. What are you going? Oh, you asked about shooting Ruthless. I have no idea. Joycations, you're right. I don't know. Listen, have you guys, okay, I just want to say this and I'm not going to answer it. Has anyone noticed that somehow Joan never makes it to the punishment trailer?
Ever.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Maybe she will run with that money. When you
she might be Jacqueline's other lady.
This is Hip Hop Radio. I love you guys. They had me on. They were fun. Avanta, you guys are just wonderful. And thank you all so very much for doing this, and you for facilitating these conversations so people don't forget about us, right?
Exactly. That's the point.
That's the point. You're doing great. We so appreciate
it. Thank you.
Hey guys, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, All Things Ruthless, where I, your girl, Chica Deshawn, will usher you all of the latest Ruthless content.